everyone, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Learning. I am Shaira CEPs, a fourth-year BEd student from Negros Oriental State University, Shatun Campus. This video is a continuation on the topic of Gypsy Elnar, which is function of non-verbal communication. And now, let's proceed to the contradiction. Contradiction. Verbal and non-verbal communication are two sides of the same coin, but they sometimes send opposite messages. This is where the contradiction function comes in. It results in mixed messages, and some mixed messages can confuse and even hurt people. Others use contradiction verbal and non-verbal cues to make insults. A classic example of this is sarcasm. Sarcastic people are good at saying the opposite of what they think by contradicting words and paralanguage. Another example, when your food tastes bland, you might say, "What a flavor meal." That they emphasize on flavor gives the sarcasm away. Contradiction can also occur unconsciously. Sometimes we notice people acting differently than what they say. When this happens, we get confused. Our common reaction is to observe their body language and behavior to find out what they mean. For example, your partner might tell you that she's okay, but you can notice that she doesn't enjoy the same thing anymore. That is an example of contradiction. And now, let's proceed to accentuation. The accentuation function is like an upgrade to the reinforcement function. To accentuate means to put emphasis on something, while the enforcement function supports the meaningful of your words. The accentuation function adds intensity or power to them. For example, we often observe accentuation when we say something exciting. You remember that time when your friend told you she's going on the field trip. It's possible not to be noticed that her eyes' smiles are wide and she speaks fast and loud. So her paralanguage and body language give power to her verbal message. Like, "I'm so excited." The accentuation function is like the exclamation mark in our writing. It's just the strength in our words. That is an example of accentuation. And now, let's go to the regulation. The last part of the function of non-verbal communication can also be used to regulate the flow of our conversation. The regulation function helps us take turns in speaking without using any words, so we don't interrupt others. It helps us send signals when we were a responser or we were done talking and want someone else to talk. We can use paralanguage, gestures, and eye contact for this function. So now, let's proceed to another subtopic, which is types of nonverbal communication. But first, let us define what is nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication without the use of spoken language. Nonverbal communication includes gestures, facial expressions, and body positions, as well as unspoken understanding and presuppositions and cultural and environmental conditions that may affect any encounter between people. In nonverbal communication, there are 6 types of nonverbal communication: the sign language, Kinesics, Proxy, Chronomics, Haptics, and Vocalics. So let us define what is sign language. Sign language is movement of your hands and arms used to communicate. There are several official systems of sign language used, for example, by deaf people. Movements are also sometimes invented by people when they want to communicate with someone who does not speak the same language. For example, this is the example of sign language. These are the example of sign language, and we all know that all of us are familiar with this. Sign language from A to Z, right? Okay. In sign language, there are 7 types of sign language. Sign language for the deaf, sign language for people who are deaf and blind, sign language for children and adults with special needs, sign language for babies, sign language for communicating with animals, home sign, and a village sign language. So, sign language are extremely important communication tool for many deaf and hard of hearing people. because sign language are the native language of the deaf community and provide full access to communication. Although sign languages are used primarily by people who are deaf, they are also used by others such as people who can hear but can't speak. And now, let's proceed to the second types of non-verbal communication, which is the kinesics. Body language, technically known as kinesics, is very essential in communications. Human body and its various parts play an important role in communication. The study of messages conveyed by the body movements is known as body language or kinesics. According to Deborah Hall, the body language is a very powerful tool. We had body language before we had speech, and apparently 80% of what you understand in a conversation is read through the body, not the words. So kinesics helps in effective communication as it helps to improve our body language and interaction quality. It helps to know what our appearance helps in our effective communication. It helps in learning the facial expression while speaking to a particular person. It helps in maintaining eye contact, proper posture, and effective gesture throughout the whole communication process. In kinesics, there are 5 parts under which are the head, facial expression, eye contact, gesture, and posture. So, different body parts play specific role in communication. So now, let us define what is head. So there is an old saying, hold your head high, it is a sign of honor, self-respect, and self-confidence. A head bent low, on the other hand, shows modesty, politeness, and health. The second is facial expression. Face has been called the mirror of the mind because whatever a person feels deep inside is reflected on his face. All parts of the face, for example, the lines of the forehead, the eyebrow, the muscles of cheeks, lips, all speak louder than words. Next is eye contact. Eye contact is a powerful tool of communication. It can be used in positive ways to effectively express confidence, intellect, honesty, love, desire, friendship, compassion, sympathy, and more. While negatively, eye contact can reflect lies, anger, lack of remorse, and a callous, non-genuine attitude. And the fourth is gesture. Gesture are our hand movements. Different hand movements convey different meanings. Example, panding of the face on table shows anger, while forefinger raised above the head shows number. Thumbs up is acknowledge. Well done and very good. And now let's proceed to the posture. Posture is the way we stand or sit. Posture is the position adopted by our body. There is a variety of posture including standing or sitting erect, leaning forward or backward, arms crossing, legs spread, stretching or bending sideways. And now, let's proceed to the third types of non-verbal communication, which is the proxemics. Proxemics is the study of how humans use space when we're communicating, how close we stand to someone, whether we touch them, and how comfortable we feel are all part of the study of proxemics. Example of proxemics is the distance between two or more individuals communicating. In proxemics, there are 4 types of proxemics, which is the intimate, personal, social, and public. So, intimate means 2 feet away from your body, and people emotionally close to you are allowed to enter this zone. The second is personal, 1 handshake away, and the distance you would stand during friendly gatherings. The third is social, about 2 arm lengths away, and the distance you stand with people you don't know well. And the public is public over 3.6 meter away in the distance you feel comfortable when addressing a big group. And now, let's proceed to the fourth of the types of nonverbal communication, which is the chronomics. Chronomics is the study of how time is used in communication. Time can be used as a communication tool in many ways, from punctuality to expectations around waiting and response time, to general principles around time management. So, chronomics is the study of the use of the time in nonverbal communication, the way we perceive time, the structure of time, and react to time is powerful communication tool and helps set the stage for the communication process. Now, let's move on to the fifth of the nonverbal communication, which is the haptics. Haptic communication is a form of nonverbal communication and the way by which people and animals communicate via touching. Touch is the most effective means to communicate feelings and emotions. The withholding of touch may communicate a variety of negative feelings. Haptic communication is the means by which people and other animals communicate via touching. Touch is an extremely important sense of human, as well as providing information about the surface and textures. It is a component of nonverbal communication in interpersonal relationships and a vital conveying physical intimacy. It can be both sexual, such as kissing, and platonic, such as hugging or kicking. The categories of touch are friendship warm touch, professional function touch, and the social polite touch. And the last type of nonverbal communication is the vocalics. Vocalics is the use of the voice to communicate non-verbally. Probably, the most important aspect of vocalics is voice quality, such as rate is how fast you talk, volume is the loudness of your voice, inflection is the vocal emphasis you place words. So vocalics, no matter what you might say, the way you say it can communicate more than the words you choose. Besides tone, vocalics might include the volume and pitch of your voice. For example, if you feel uncomfortable in a situation, you might naturally speak quietly to draw less attention to yourself. That is a vocalics. And that could be all. Thank you for listening.